Welcome back to Real Talk with DMJ. And this is part 2 with my special guest, Cyneetra Brady. Welcome. I wanted us to get back to talking about your incarceration.
Right.
Going there and then coming back into the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted you to share that with us.
Okay.
What were your struggles? Did you feel like you were blackballed, you were shunned because of your background and what you had where you came from, you know, being incarcerated? Was that a barrier for you to re-enter back into the community?
Well, it wasn't as hard as it could have been because when I went, so I did go to prison. I did 18 months. I did 11 months on house arrest, and I did almost 16 inside, including my 6 months of work release. When I got released from the system, they put me into work release, which was a 6-month program. So when I went there, they automatically help you get a job and you pay rent and everything there. Like, they try to get you ready for the streets, ready to go back home. I had already had a place to live at the time, so that was great. So I had found a job. I was working across the street from there at a Sonic fast food restaurant place.
I love Sonic.
And it's a trip because literally to this day, they still ask me, like, you don't want to come back to work here? And I'm like, no, I'm okay.
You did a wonderful job.
Yeah, so they loved me there. So it was cool. But with me now, if I would have got released back into the streets though, Deborah, I'm going to be honest with you, I probably would have been misguided because they don't teach you anything in there unless you ask. You get what I'm saying? They don't offer programming like normal, like you would think that they would offer you schooling, they would offer classes.
They call it rehabilitation.
Right.
You're missing that in the prison system.
So they have one program, but there's a waiting list. And so you literally have to get on this waiting list. It's called reentry program back into the community. So they had this waiting list, so I wasn't able to get on that. I didn't have enough time to be in there to get on it.
Okay.
So my entry back into the streets wasn't as bad as it could have been, like I said, because I literally got a job the second day out into work release. And I kept my job once I got home. I worked there for almost 2 years after the fact.
Oh, yes.
But I also was fighting the system when it came to my kids.
Yes.
I also had to go through hoops with CPS to get my children back home at one point. And so it was like, not only was I fighting for me to stay free, I also was fighting to get my children back home. So I had to do things like, I was on the bus, and so I would have to go to work and then go to these parenting classes, then go UA, and then go to, like, it was a lot. It's a lot, especially when you're getting on your feet. They want you to go to treatment. They want you to do this, do that. And it's like, you can't be everywhere at once, but you also can't miss these programs because it can mess with your children coming home or the day that you're supposed to be doing certain things. So I fought with that for a while, but thank God I got through all that. My babies came home.
Yes.
I was able to keep my job at the time. I did have a place to live. And not too long after that, that's right when we moved to Mississippi.
Okay, so your incarceration, my thing was, I wonder, how did that have a barrier and how did that affect you?
Well, now it does because my record. So I took a felony charge, and then it took a DUI component on top of it. So really, I have 2 felony points when it should have been, I had no record at all. So when I went into there, they should have gave me, which is called a first-time felony waiver.
Yeah.
They didn't. So they automatically, I have 2 felony, Class B felonies on my record. So when it comes to getting a job or housing or even with my license right now, they have a hold on it for a certain reason because of this DUI component that I got. So it's been over 7 years since I've been in trouble. It's been almost 10. And I still have to, people ask, like when you go to rent a place, they ask, have you ever been convicted? Or when you go to sign up for a job, they ask, have you ever been convicted? And I have to explain this happened in 2015. And then I have to tell them why or what happened. And it's your past, but it's like they want to keep bringing it back up.
Yeah, you're being still punished.
Right.
You know, no, it doesn't matter if you've done the time, paid for what you've done, but you still come back. And I feel you on this because I'm fighting things myself.
Right, right.
And then I'm fighting my mother's discretions.
See, that's crazy.
And then, they say the curse of the father or something is on the child, the curse of the mother's on the child. And you have all that on you, plus dealing with your own stuff and trying to find self. And you got to make sure you stay strong and keep it on point, for your children.
Right.
And that can be so hard. I think society and the community needs to let up off that.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we all have a story. We all have a past.
And we all do, yes.
And we all have shortcomings. I think it always talks about in the Bible, who shall cast the first stone?
Right. And I believe in that. I believe in that tough because here's the thing. I do have a past. Like you said, everybody has a past. People learn from it. People change. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's like, if you knew me, you would knew where I came from. I have came so far from the person that I used to be, and it has something to do with my children for the fact that I don't want them to grow up in the society seeing a mother like that or seeing me on the streets or seeing me doing anything that I wouldn't want them to do.
Yes.
So when it came to my children, after I had my kids, Deborah, it was like a light popped on. Like, you can't be the same person that you were before. I literally went to prison for a car accident. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not something I woke up and did on purpose. So, and for me to have to live with that, after that, I got my own issues that goes on. Mentally, PTSD, emotionally, I'm nervous to even get behind the wheel of a car at some point because the things that happened to me. I had 9 surgeries. I stayed in the hospital 3 months, and I still went to prison. So not only did I serve my time, but I have issues.
You still have to live with it now.
On myself, with my life, like getting up every day, trying to make a living and doing certain things. I can't go up a certain amount of steps. I can't lift a certain amount of stuff because the injuries that happened to me that during the car accident. And see, people don't understand that because when you go to fight for Social Security or you ask for some help, it's like, oh, you're only 37 years old. You got 4 children. If you can take care of them, then you're good. You don't need any help from us. That's what the system pretty much is telling me.
Are you saying while you're in the system that we need to go ahead and have our case managers do a better job on assessing?
Right, because...
And their choices?
Yeah, because you spoke on DSHS earlier. So let's bring that up. Even with DSHS, when I came home, DSHS was helping me with food assistance. I wasn't receiving no cash at the time because I was working. Now, even with DSHS, when I went, they have this program called ABE.
Yes,
it's supposed to be like
excuse me,
aging, disabled, and blind program, right?
Yes.
And so I have friends that told me before, like, hey, you need to go try to get on this program because you clearly have medical issues. I tried for that program so many times, Deborah, it's not funny. And they were approving people left and right in front of me. And I was like, what is stopping me from getting it? The lady told me because I was involved in a car accident that I didn't qualify for it because it was something that I did to myself pretty much. Like anybody that's involved in a car accident, you pretty much, if you're the cause, if you were found in the wrong, that's not something we can help you with.
So case management requirements need to change.
Right.
But then next time this ever happens, I just want to give this advice. You need to ask, can I see that in paper?
And that's what my mom said. My mom was like, they should have showed you this in writing because here's the thing. Even with Social Security, say I was trying to fight for Social Security, their biggest thing is if I'm up walking, if I can move around, if I can take care of 4 kids, then they feel like I can do anything else that somebody else can do. But here's my barrier. Standing for over 8 hours, my ankle swells up. I have problems with going, like I said, up and down flights of stairs. I have a limit to what I can do physically.
Well, generally, that I know that DSSH does, they always have you go ahead to see one of their doctors, the mental evaluation, and the Social Security office also does that too. So I'm just surprised that maybe you're just one of those that fell through the cracks.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't know how their doctors work but I've been denied twice through Social Security. And DSHS helped me once go through the whole process, and I got denied, and then I went a second time. I think that they're thinking if you don't, what it is the lady told me before, you have to have not only a physical issue, but your mental has to be like you want me to be crazy, I guess, and physically damaged. I don't know. But that's the component that I'm missing. They want you to have mental health needs and physical needs.
Okay.
And see, mine is just I have a physical problem.
Okay, I think we all have a little bit of mental, though.
Right.
Because I think you have a little bit of mental going on. I ain't gonna lie.
You know what?
So don't deny
Everybody
it.
does. No, I'm not saying that I don't, but physically they want you to go to these people and have them test you and say that you're whatever diagnosis, and that's when you probably could get that component on. Mm-hmm. But I've never been really to no psychiatrist or no doctors to tell me, you know, besides the car accident. And I know I have PTSD, and I know I have like problems with certain situations where it's like crowd of people. What do they call it? Like sensory issues, you know? And that's from me being in the car accident, you know? So.
Well, I want to get back to, so when you went to prison and you were incarcerated, and I'm sure it's another place that you don't want to go back to again to revisit.
Right.
But when you were there, can you share about how you were being, how you felt while you were being there, being told when to get up, when to eat, when to lay down?
Oh, it's not nice. It's definitely not home. You definitely feel if you're not used to somebody telling you what to do, then it's not for you. It's not for anybody, for real. You stay in receiving. When you first get there, you stay in receiving at least for 6 weeks.
Isn't that at Shelton?
No, it's Purdy. You go to Purdy.
Okay.
All women prison, Purdy, all women go to Purdy.
Uh-huh.
And so when you start out at Purdy, they put you in this place called receiving, which is like considered downtown in the jail. It's considered the downtown part of the jail. Mm-hmm. Because my thing was a crime against person, because I got in a car accident, they didn't know where to classify me because I didn't have a record. So instead of staying in and receiving for 6 weeks, I stayed in there almost 2 months. I mean, over 2 months.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know where to place me. They could have put me in medium, and they could have put me with the regular population. But I had to go to a counselor just to get approval to go to minimum. And minimum is where you're out pretty much all day and you can program and stuff. Now, medium, you're only out 7 to 10 hours. And then they have maximum where you're in there 23 out of 1.
So maximum, you stay in your cell.
Right.
And you're not allowed.
1 hour. 1 hour a day, and that's either to make phone calls and shower, and you go back, or you either choose what you want to do for that hour.
No, okay, I'm going kind of backwards. So tell me, what was the minimum?
So minimum is where you're out, like pretty much it's like a high school. It's like 4 girls to a pod, and it's like an open day room. You can go in the day room anytime from 6 in the morning to 10 p.m. You can program. You can go to school, go to the library, go to different classes and stuff. Medium is the same, but you're only out a certain amount of hours. Like medium has it to where they're not out till 10 o'clock at night. They lock down at like 6, and then they got to go to their rooms or whatever.
Okay, one thing I always was upset about was when my brothers, when they went to prison, and any individual that's gone to prison, to me, I was always told there's many programs because I know individuals came out with their bachelor's degree and all that. So I just feel, and this has always been a Deborah-ism, that people that are incarcerated don't take advantage of those programs.
If you're not...
Because when they come out,
Deborah,
you don't...
The thing is, if you're not in there for a long period of time, a lot of those programs you can't even get into. Like if you're not automatically stationed to like 5 years, or a lot of them take time to get into. Like I said, there's waiting lists. So when you get in there, there's no just hopping in no program. You have to get on a waiting list. Even when it came to going to church, I signed up for church the first week I got to prison. I didn't go to church till almost 6 months in. Was my first time going to church. And you literally have to get on this waiting list and wait to go in there.
Well, okay, then we're still talking about the prison system. How was it adapting to the culture?
I'm not going to lie to you. It's like, it's so many different women and personalities and people that's fighting their own situations. Like, you're in there with people from killing people to hurting kids to all, like, the easiest theft. You know, it goes from the easiest petty crime to the highest crime. So you never know how somebody's feeling. I'm not going to lie. I stuck to myself a lot. I didn't hang out with a lot of people. I went to work. They had me working in the kitchen at 4 a.m. I went to work. I served breakfast, and I would come back to my pod, and I did hair when I was in there a lot, and I went back to my room. I read a lot. I read a lot of books. I went to the library a lot, and I stayed in my room because it's easy to get into trouble. You get what I'm saying? It's easy to, because there's so many different personalities and women
And about
fighting.
joining a clique.
Right, and they're already clicked off when you get there. They're gonna tell you off top if you can hang with them or not. And I'm not that girl. I'm gonna be by myself before I let you tell me I can hang out with you. No. So yeah, but it's true that clicking off and in men's prison, I can only imagine because men take it way
Deep.
way different.
Yes.
So mine was probably like Girl Scouts compared to what happens in Shelton or Airway Heights or Column Bay. You know what I'm saying? I can only imagine because I've heard stories like where you have to fight to get like people trying to come in you in the shower and things of that nature. I've never had anything like that happen to me when I was in prison. So it's like it's different for men. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like what you see on that TV that's not what happens in their prisons. And my brother and my cousins and everybody used to tell me before I even went, you just prepare yourself mentally to be by yourself, because if not, you're going to get into a lot of trouble. And it takes nothing for them to send you to the hole. You can get into an argument with somebody, and if they feel threatened, they're going to send you downtown and you're going to be in the hole. And that's 23-1-2. That's 23 hours you're in there and 1 hour you're out.
Okay, I'm kind of confused here. Downtown.
So I'm saying downtown because it's meaning like downtown is considered the bottom of the hill. So Purdy is built on a hill. So downtown is considered when you come in, you go to receiving, that's downtown. It's at the bottom of the hill. So I'm calling it downtown. The middle of it is like minimum. Medium is over to the left and maximum is up top. At the
And
top
maximum is where individuals have life.
Pretty much, or crime against persons can get you up there. Or like say if you did something with a child offense crimes, anything that you shouldn't be around population, because they will treat you some type of way if you did something to a child or if you've killed somebody or if you know what I'm saying? They put you there because they're like, they don't want the confrontation.
So all that you endured while you're in prison, and then you came, you found the job, you won your children back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you were able to, when you came back out, it seemed like you done all that, but that barrier.
Yeah, it doesn't go nowhere.
It's still there, that they're not letting you, and then that old girl behavior.
Right.
People are still slapping you with
Right.
it. And I get that. I get it every day.
Right.
Like I shared one time before, when I walk into a room, I feel like I'm in a tank full of sharks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know, like I'm saying, who's going to do something to you or what is their motive.
Right.
Your guard is always up.
Right. And you never know, even though you could be sitting here with me saying, like, say me and you was doing a job interview and I was trying to get a job with you. On your face, you could be saying, okay, yeah, I got you. But in your mind, you're still thinking like, well, this girl got convicted, though. You got to still look at my background and see what really happened, or pull up what's going on. So that'd be my biggest fear. When I go for a job or if I go for a house or if I go I'm always wondering, like, I always keep it real. I always tell them from the beginning I have that charge.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather me tell you than you to find out.
Yes.
So I just rather have that out there. But in their head, I know that they're thinking like, well, this is a crime against person. She was convicted and did time for it. Even though it was 2015, almost 10 years ago, we still have to look at this. You know what I'm saying? So that'd be my biggest thing is you smiling, they smile in your face and, I'm going to get back to you. And then you never hear
Do you
nothing.
feel like that your past stopped you from moving forward when you go sign up for these programs? Because you mentioned compassionate homes.
Yeah, Kitsap Homes of Compassion is another housing
How long
program.
have you been in that program?
It's probably been about a year.
Okay, do you feel like your background, by this period, being in these programs, by you not moving forward, do they hold against you?
I don't know
Your
about
past.
holding against me right now. I feel like Homes of Compassion and KCR are both going through something internally. Like something's going on in their buildings because I have switched
you feel it's
six
not
workers. I've had 6 workers in the last year at House of
okay.
Homes
So
of Compassion.
it's not a personal attack.
No.
I'm glad you don't feel that
No.
because I think they're very good
Yeah,
programs.
no, and
They're
very
good.
helpful when it comes to certain things, and I will give them that. I just feel like the housing market in Kitsap County is not helping them. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know how most places will have shelters that you could go to. Bremerton only opens up shelters if it's 0 below outside, or if it's freezing weather, then they'll open up something for people to go to.
Now I have to defend them. You know, and a lot has to do with funding and running out of funding.
I got you.
I just think they need to let the people know the truth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's communications. And this is why I try and go to quite a few things about the homeless, where the funding is, so I can know and get the real truth out there to my clients. Don't hold them again, because it's all about receiving those fundings, timelines, barriers, and their obligations.
And I believe that.
So, and it has a lot to do with that.
I believe that.
So it's not that they don't want to help. And then they have restrictions, you know, that has their hands tied. So my thing is to get to know the people that make up these laws, that make up these programs, and then that they're putting too much of restraint on our county funds, on our gatekeepers that receive these funds. Even with the Bremerton Housing Authority, I think some of those federally programs, they put too much of a handcuff on them that they can't fulfill their clients, their tenants' needs met. And so the powers that be that make up these rules and regulations, they don't have the right people at the table also. You have these people, they don't have the right people at the planning table.
Some people they're giving these jobs to also that don't know what to do. Like, for instance, I just told you I've been through 6 workers at Kitsap Homes of Compassion, and I've been there less than a year. And I've been through 6 different people. So I know that something is going on the inside where somebody's not doing something right. Like, you either are not making deadlines on what you're supposed to be doing, or you're not helping people like you're supposed to, because they have, just like with KCR, they have a housing specialist, they have an employment specialist, and then they have someone that just helps you all the way around. So these people that I've been getting switched to is housing people. Like, the employment people have been the same, but the housing specialists have switched off. And what it is it's the lack of their knowledge and what they're really supposed to be doing for me. And I don't know what their program.
Well, I do have to say the new executive director, well, he's been there a while now. And so he's trying to do his best. He's out finding more fundings, and he's advocating down at Commerce and in DC. To try and find more fundings for us, and then to let them know about the need and his voices be heard. But my thing is, I think we should bring other people with him to rally with him and go with them, instead of them just hearing from one person. They need to hear from the community.
If the community doesn't,
but then the community has to also know to support them. But they have to get the word and the information to know when this is happening to come and support. Because you have to have a village.
Even with situations like that, you're
yes,
right about
definitely.
that.
Well, we're going to wrap this up. Boy, we can go on and on about this. But I wanted to tell you, I am so happy to have you here and have this conversation, and that we're going to be able to share it with other viewers that have gone through things and needed to know this information and what's out there. But I'm glad that you have a job.
Yes, definitely.
And you know what I'm saying? And that you didn't give up. That's the biggest thing.
Forward. Can I just say something?
Yes, go right ahead.
I do want to let the women know, women, men, children, to keep it pushing. That's my motto, to keep it moving, because no matter these barriers, no matter what people have planned for you, God has a plan for everyone's life.
Yes, He does.
And I know that even though I struggle in certain situations, I know that I wake up on a daily and I feel better about myself just achieving small things. Start writing down your goals. Start doing what you need to do. nobody's the last say so. Nobody has the
That's
last
right.
say so. And you
But
can
God.
go wherever you need to go. So I just want to advise young women, single mothers, anybody
Single
struggling, fathers too, and people with mental issues and
Yes.
things that's going on with them, keep praying, keep God first, and keep it pushing. I just know that in my heart, he has a bigger plan for me. And so I wake up every day knowing that me and my baby's gonna be all right.
You know something? Thank you for sharing those encouraging words. Real Talk with DMJ. And thank you for viewing.